guys, welcome back to another video. It's your girl Bree. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time, please like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for continuing to watch this beautiful face. Based off of the title, as you can see, I'm going to be giving my personal review on the new hit show Bridgerton right now. I just finished it last night, and yeah, I just wanted to give my little 2 cents on the show and see if you guys agreed with me as well. We can feed off of each other just to see if like we're thinking the same thing. I just really want to know. With all that said, hope you enjoy the rest of this video. So how I'm gonna do it is I'm going to go character by character, break them down, tell you what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them. I have my notes and I'm just gonna read off one by one because I have them in order of the way that I wanted to speak about them. So first, I'm going to talk about Daphne, who is one of the main lead characters. She becomes the Duchess because she marries the Duke. I didn't really have anything that I didn't like about her because she was the prime example and like the epitome of what someone in that high power should be. She's very nice, she's very kind, she was raised really well, and she's very empathetic, she's caring, she's all of that and more. She's everything you want in a leader. That's basically my take on Daphne. Next, I'm going to talk about the Duke, which is her husband, aka Simon. That's his name in the show. He's the prime example. Sorry, I keep looking at my phone for my notes, but he's the prime example of this is the way that I am. Basically just deal with it. Being a grown man at his big age, being like that, you will get nowhere with that type of attitude. And in this show, he's very, very prideful. One thing I did get was the vow that he made with his father, only because of the fact that his father was so terrible towards him, and he's a piece of shit. Basically, I completely agree with how he handled his last few years with his father and like telling him the legacy ends with me. I'm not gonna have children. I completely understand why he would do that, because it's like, how you treated me, you don't deserve to get to see that your name lives on forever just based off how you treated me all of my life. Who are you to be entitled of greatness when you weren't great at all? You didn't do your part as part of the legacy, in my opinion. So that's why I feel like with his dad, I agreed with him with the vow, and I would have said the same thing, honestly.
I know that's right.
But him carrying it on into his marriage later on in the future, and that's when it started becoming an issue, when he was too prideful to where even after so many encounters with your wife, you still don't feel away. Like, that really got to me, because I didn't understand that at that point, because that's when I felt like it was getting drawn out, and I was like, you really are cold-blooded for real.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
At this point, it's not just about you. It's not about your father. This is about your family. I said that you'd be crazy to lose what you have in front of you, and he was this close to losing her. Then again, they dragged the heck out of this show for like 5 episodes long. They were bickering the whole time, and then like the last 2 minutes, that's when he wanted to be like, oh yeah, you're right, I am being an a-hole, let's have a kid, I'm fine with having a kid. I mean, that's nice, and I'm glad it ended that way, but it's just like, oh my gosh, like, when is it gonna end? You love her, she loves you. Why don't y'all just break that tension and just get over yourselves, basically? And so finally they did, thank goodness. But yeah, I just felt like he was just being an a-hole the whole time, and I didn't like it. I'm glad that he finally came around, and then by the end they had a child, and that's all that matters. But like in between time, oh, I just wanted to like choke him because of the fact that he was being so difficult, just prideful for no reason at all. Next, I'm gonna move to the Duchess's mom, so Daphne's mom. For her, I didn't really see anything bad about her either. I was saying that she was kind, she's very non-judgmental, she actually cared for her kids, and she let them be happy based off of what they wanted, because a lot of what I've seen, they were like the only family with a mother or any kind of parent, but really a mother who stepped in and actually asked questions about their children, making sure that they're all right mentally, physically, emotionally. She was like, Daphne, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. She was all about actually being in love with someone.
Wow! Oh my God!
Whereas in that time, everything was pretty much always arranged, that it didn't really matter if you loved that person or not. you have generations of people doing that, marrying arrangements because of the money and status and stuff like that, that, you know, it's just very common to marry based off of those things, not really based off of love. It's all really a game when it comes to living in society. But with that family and with Daphne's mother being the way that she was different, and she actually was a mom to her children. That's basically how I can put it. And I really like that about her. I really liked her character, and she played it really well. So the next person I wanted to talk about was the Duke's father. So Simon's father. I don't really have much to say about him. It's just the fact that he was just a no good person and he got what he deserved. Call me heartless, but I don't play when it comes with people not being nice and kind to others and think you could just get away with it. And then those be the main people that when, like you say, he was on his deathbed reaching out for his son. When his son came into the room, said, "Oh, thank you so for coming to see about me." He's like, "I ain't come to see about you." He was like, "Oh yeah, just to let you know the legacy ends with me." And then that's when he like died, because he was like, that's not what I wanted to hear. He basically had a heart attack. Yeah, he was just evil and disgusting man, period. So the next person I wanted to talk about was Lady Danbury. That is Simon's caretaker, basically mom in the show. She was a light and basically cared for the Duke while growing up. He gave her flowers for being that special person in his life, to encourage him and show him that he can accomplish whatever it is he wanted to be, and also whatever it is that he wanted to do, as far as like him getting over his speech impediment. I really loved her for that. That wasn't her child, and she stepped in and was a true light in his life, and he needed her. I don't know what he would have done without her, because there was nobody else in that family or whoever he was around that helped him as much as she did. So kudos to her. Kudos to her for sure. She's very pretty. She moves around with poise and grace. I really enjoy her character as well. Okay, next I'm going to talk about Miss Marina Thompson, who was the black girl in the white family who was child and basically was doing the schemes that she was doing. At first, when I discovered her in the show, she was kind-hearted, cool. She was an interesting character because of the way she was put into the show. I just felt like she started off so well, and then she kind of went downhill, but then you really slowly saw who she really was as a person. She had that facade of being so innocent, and then over time you really saw how conniving she could really be, and I didn't like that for her, because it was like, why you gotta do all that? You ain't gotta do all that. She had that doing what she had to do mentality, and then looking to see where it got her in the end. She ended up having so many issues during the whole pregnancy, really trying to reconnect with the baby's father, because she really loved him, but he was away. She thought that he didn't want her anymore and that he left her with the child all alone. Ended up finding somebody else to, I guess, take his place. Was Colin Bridgerton, Daphne Bridgerton's younger brother. He ended up liking Marina, and so Marina, she really did like him, but then over it she turned it into like a scheme or like a plan to get him to marry her, basically put it on him as the baby's father, so that she wouldn't be shamed in the society because of the fact that the father was away in another country. I guess he was a soldier. She had lost contact with him, or they were writing back and forth, but like she was never really able to see him again. And so she ended up talking to Colin. They ended up liking each other, but then it turned to more of like a business plan for her to trap him, and then he would have to marry her, because like I said, society, once you do the slightest wrong thing, it's kind of like, oh well, you messed up, so y'all have to get together, y'all have to marry now. Yeah, she was gonna do that, but it ended up not working in her favor, because whistle down, putting in her paper that she was pregnant, and so everybody in the community knew, and so basically looked down on her for being pregnant before wedlock. And then when Colin found out that way as well, and they didn't know each other long too before he ended up proposing to Thompson, and they were supposed to get married, and then right when they were going to get married, that's when the news broke out, and he was like, oh well, you played me. Had you told me beforehand, I would have still took you in, knowing that you had a child that wasn't mine. But she messed that up because she wanted to be vengeful and sneaky, and then the whole like, I have to do what I have to do type of thing, like it didn't work out for her. So Colin, on the other hand of the relationship, he liked Marina too fast, And even his mother and his sister said that you don't even know this girl and you already want to marry, because he wanted to marry her within like 2 or 3 days of knowing her. It was such a short period of time where he ended up proposing to her. And they were like, you don't even know this girl, you don't even know if you really love her. And he's like, I do. One hand, I see where they're coming from, because you can never be so sure. It's just the puppy dog phase where you're like, oh, I'm so infatuated with this person, blah, 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 blah. But then that mask and those layers start to peel off over time, and you start really seeing that person for who they really are, or like start noticing things that you don't like about the person. But if you end up loving them, then you kind of look over that, or you can work with that person to come together as one and try to compromise on certain things, because that's how I feel like love works. Some people have gotten married based off of love at first sight, because once they saw that person, they knew they were going to marry that person, and it worked out. So I can see both ends, but for the show's sake, I can see how they say you don't even know her, and then look what happened by the end. Not to say she didn't like Colin, it was just the fact that after a certain point, it wasn't so much about loving him or like liking him. It was more so like, I need to move fast and get him to marry me. And I was like, it ain't gonna work, sweetie. And it didn't. So he ended up breaking it off and moving on with his life. That with her and Colin liking each other before that, Penelope Wetherington liked Colin first.
What?
And out of all of Penelope's siblings, she took to Marina, used to kick it, hang out all the time. Penelope liked Colin first, but Penelope, that's one thing, Penelope never said anything the entire time until Marina had to say something and said, you like him, don't you? Every time she saw them together, she would get jealous, but it was like, you need to speak up. Like, closed mouths don't get fed. So she never said anything. That really boiled me, because of the fact that she didn't say anything. So how was Marina supposed to know? She can't read your mind. But then when Marina did say, Penelope, you like him, don't you? She was like, well, basically, F you. I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta marry him because he comes from a good family, one. But then two, I have to do this for me and that for my baby, because I need to be supported and I need to be secure. That's when it kind of went left, because she basically backstabbed her at that point. She knew that she liked him, and she still went on with, I have to marry him. But at that point, I felt like she didn't like him as much anymore. She did it just out of spite and just looking out for herself. But in the end, it didn't even work out. They ended up not getting married. He ended up going on a tour in neighboring countries by the end of the season. Ooh, that's just so much to unpack, man.